Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Nancy Alvarez. The 5-year-old boy at the center of an Amber Alert in Lake County has been found safe. Police are now giving us an update on this case. Let's listen in.
I want to make sure everyone can see me. And just to make sure everyone is aware, I'm not answering any questions about the DCF investigation. We're only addressing our involvement, the Tavares Police Department. So on December 15th, our agency responded to the 100 block of Terra Drive around 1:42 p.m. in reference to assisting the Department of Children and Families with removing Jace Saunders from the residence. Upon officers and DCF arrival, the homeowner, who is a relative of Jace, stated that he was not at the residence and was on a golf cart ride with a family friend, Mitchell Morris. The relative called Mitchell Morris and instructed them to return to the residence due to DCF being present. Officers were unable to hear what Mitchell Morris's response was to these instructions. While waiting for Mitchell Morris to return to the residence, the relative began to call Jace's parents, Taylor Judy and Brandon Saunders. Both were verbally hostile and stated that Jace would not be turned over to the state and they would not agree with anything DCF had in place. A short time later, Mitchell Morris arrived back to the residence without Jace Saunders. Mitchell Morris later admitted to officers that he met with Kelly DeSilva near a local park and turned Jace over to her in an effort to prevent Jace being turned over to DCF. Kelly DeSilva is Jace's grandmother. Video footage of 2 local Tavares parks confirmed that Mitchell Morris was in the area of on his golf cart with Jace. Our agency quickly entered Jace into the National Crime Information Center as a missing and endangered juvenile. It was put on our Facebook page for disbursement. Detective Davis with our agency responded to the scene to assist in the takeover of the investigation. A ping of Kelly DeSilva's phone was started, however, yielded negative results. While officers were still on scene, Brandon Saunders, Jace's father, arrived to the scene and became hostile with officers. Officers attempted to ask him the location of Jace and the status of Jace's health. However, he refused to assist. Brandon Saunders was charged and arrested with interference of child custody and resisting without violence. Taylor Judy, Jace's mother, spoke with Detective Davis while he was on scene. Taylor Judy attempted to make deals with Detective Davis if she were to provide the location of Taylor Judy, Jace's mother, spoke with Detective Davis while he was on scene. Taylor Judy attempted to make deals with Detective Davis if she were to provide the location of Jace. Pings of Taylor Judy's phone were completed, and that placed her at an address in Eustis. She was located at the residence and taken into custody. However, Jace was not with her. Taylor Judy was charged with interference of child custody. The Tavares Police social media team were inundated with tips and leads from the community. Our agency worked tirelessly at confirming each tip that came in between writing search warrants, interviews, and working with other local and state agencies. At around 8:30 this morning, we were notified that Kelly DeSilva brought Jace Saunders to Lady Lake Police Department. Kelly DeSilva is currently being questioned at our department, and Jace was safely turned over to DCF. Kelly DeSilva is being charged with kidnapping and interference of child custody. We are pleased with the outcome of this investigation. However, our detectives still have a lot of work to do. The investigation is still considered open and ongoing, and any further details are confidential. And to reiterate, Mitchell Morris was arrested for interference of child custody. Brandon Saunders, Jace's father, was arrested for interference of child custody and resisting without violence. Taylor Judy, Jace's mother, was arrested for interference of child custody, and Kelly DeSilva, Jace's grandmother, was arrested for kidnapping and interference of child custody. I will take any questions.
So you mentioned she was trying to make deals with the detectives. I mean, can you talk about what these deals were? Was it like something along the lines of, I could keep my son if I tell you where he is, or what was it?
Yeah, it was essentially along those lines. If it prevents Jace from going into DCF custody, I'll tell you where he is. That was
so it wasn't like she was trying to negotiate for her own freedom. She was trying to say, if I'll tell you where he is, as long as you let him stay with me.
Correct.
And that,
well, not necessarily
and that
her.
wasn't even your call, right? That's a DCF call.
Correct. So
I know you can't go into detail on the DCF thing, and I understand all the confidentiality. But do you know, has DCF been involved with this family recently or for a while?
So again, we can't go into detail about any DCF call history. Our agency is known to the family. We have an extensive history with them.
You've been to this home before,
We are familiar with them, yes,
for things involving Jace.
for domestic related issues.
Why do you believe he might be endangered?
So being that he is autistic was the first case, and then additionally, he was not supposed to be in Kelly De Silva's care. So there were certain factors that believed that he would be in danger.
And again, I know that there's a lot of moving parts, and I don't mean to be in a fog here, but so DCF was taking him into custody because apparently mom, dad, or grandma, none of them were considered to be appropriate caretakers according to DCF.
That's something that DCF would have to answer to.
But wouldn't that be apparent in this particular case?
That's for your own judgment, not mine.
Just to be clear, Jace was not harmed in any way, shape, or form.
No, he was not. Jace was safe and happy when we saw him.
You haven't had to retrieve him as far as custody issues in the past, have you?
I don't have that information in front of me. We're here for yesterday's incident.
You say the family is known to you and your agency is known to them. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not you've had any kind of similar instances where his custody was in question and your agency had to get involved.
Not that I have in front of me to be able to answer to.
How long was it between when the Amber Alert went out and when you guys were able to recover him safely?
So we were able to,
About an hour and a half.
yeah, it was about an hour and a half. Well,
guys
so
think
never mind.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you guys think that the father and the mother both knew where Jace was during the whole time? Or did they just not, I mean, did the grandma take him and then they had no idea where he was, or did they know specifically where he was?
So there were phone calls made to Jace's parents from Kelly De Silva. So it is believed that they knew exactly where he was. They just were not informing us the whereabouts of Jace.
Well, without jumping the shark, now you're kind of saying it was a conspiracy among family members to keep DCF away from this little boy.
They were all interfering with the custody of that, yeah. So.
Together, I mean, in concert with one another.
Mhm.
Were there any determining factors between when you all had the call made that Jace was in any harm before you all made the Amber Alert?
Ask one more
What
time.
determining factors led to you all releasing the Amber Alert around that 7 a.m. when not looking at earlier?
So we actually worked in conjunction with state agencies late last night, and we were able to obtain the Amber Alert at that time. The notification of the Amber Alert came out around 7 a.m. So after exhausting all leads and doing everything that we could, we then worked with state officials and making sure that Amber Alert was done.
You said you were working to paying the grandmother's phone, but there was negative results.
Correct.
So I guess one can assume that she had turned it off, knowing that that was maybe a method that you would be able to track her.
It's possible that that could have occurred, yes.
What happens with Jace now?
Jace was turned over to the Department of Children and Families, so it's going to be up to them to figure out placement for him.
Are other charges, I mean, I know you listed a lengthy list of charges for everybody involved. Could more charges be coming?
Anything is possible. The investigation is still open and ongoing, so if more charges come to fruition, we will definitely charge them.
All right, thanks.
And so you all were familiar with the family about
Mhm.
how long history?
I don't have certain years that we've known them, but I feel comfortable saying with over 2.
And were all of those calls fundamentally surrounding this little boy?
No.
Jace was not in the custody of the parents before yesterday, right? He was in.
Correct.
He had already been.
He was in a separate relative's custody.
Okay,
I know you called, a relative had called the guy in the golf cart to bring them back. What is that relationship between that relative and the 5-year-old?
I believe they were roommates. The relative,
When you say relative,
Mentors.
what is the relationship? Is it a grandmother, a great-grandmother?
Of the
Mitchell.
home?
No,
Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yeah, a family friend.
No, not the guy in the golf cart. The person who
public
called the
record?
guy in the golf cart. You said a relative, but what sort of relative? Aunt?
Great grandmother.
Thank you. That's what.
Okay.
Thanks.
Glad I got there.
Well, it's as
It's
confusing as it
convoluted.
can be.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
you've got
it's a-
relatives, friends, and everybody all kind of working together with you guys in DCF on the other side of the fence.
Did Jace have any siblings?
I'm unsure.
What's
We
it
were
like for-
focused on Jace. We were only aware of Jace.
What's it like for detectives when you know that it's a 5-year-old, you're fearful for his safety, family's not cooperating, and you know that every moment that passes, he could be getting further away, he could be undergoing harm. When you've got that ticking clock, what's that like for you?
That's a great question. So I can speak on behalf of being a detective. Naturally, we want to do everything that we can, and knowing that it's more difficult to be able to get to where we need to be is frustrating. We feel the pressure of the community and ensuring that, he is safe. So what I have done, and I'm sure what Detective Davis has done or did last night, in fact, I know he did, is he called out for help from other detectives, officers within the agency. We relied heavily on other local agencies. And then as each minute passed and realizing that we were exhausting a lot of leads, then it became to the state level and then needing the state's assistance. So, it's easy to get overwhelmed, but I commend Detective Davis because he kept it calm, cool, and collected. And ultimately, we were able to find Jace, and Jace is safe. So.
And adding to the stress level for your agency, quite honestly, is we've had several instances recently across Central Florida with autistic children that have not ended well. And that's on your mind the whole time, is to make sure that not only is he going to be safe with the person that he's not supposed to be with, but that he doesn't manage to slip away from that person, and then you've got a whole another issue.
Yeah, you're correct.
We're all parents as well, so it's doubly affecting all of us whenever you're a parent on top of law enforcement. But 2 more questions for her, guys.
What was the overall, I guess, condition when they were turned in to the police department? What'd you say, Lady Lake?
Lady Lake.
What was like the condition? Was the child, I guess, distraught or unaware, or what was that?
So
Set the scene, please.
I wasn't there. However, based off of some notes that I saw on the call, he appeared happy. So
Has it been driving around all day?
I don't know.
So happy to be reunited with whoever went to pick him up.
I'm assuming so. He just appeared to be a happy 5-year-old boy. So
Last one, anything else? Can we close it out?
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
I've already got more twists and turns that I can squeeze into one piece.
That's right. It's hard for us to keep up too. They did a great job.
What was your first name?
You've been listening to a news conference underway in Tavares there. The police department announcing to the relief of Central Florida that the 5-year-old at the center of a search has been found. He is safe. But now we are looking at an investigation where several of his family members and a family friend are facing charges related to interference of child custody. This is a child that was about to be taken into DCF custody, and his family got in between the state to stop that from happening. All of them are now facing charges, and that includes the child's grandmother, Kelly Da Silva, who we know is also facing an additional charge of kidnapping. This investigation, of course, still ongoing, and we will have the very latest for you when we see you again at noon. But for now, the good news is that boy was found safe. We'll see you again in about an hour.